I think that one of the things that I love about yoga and our practice is that it gives us a very necessary pause and a place in which we can digest what's happening in our world, what's happening all around us, so that we can um, adapt, right? We can figure out now that's what's happening around us. This is what's happening inside of me in relationship to the world that's around me. And how do I want to effectively respond? And yoga is so much about that, about finding that place of effective responding. And it's about listening inward and connecting into what's happening in the body, what's happening, where am I reacting, and um, how can I attend to myself, to those reactions, before letting reaction fuel my action in the world, so that then, if I'm going to take action in the world, it's blended with intentionality and mindfulness. So this can be related at every level, how we're ourselves, how we're responding to loved ones that maybe we're sheltering in place with, other family members, friends, our community, and the world at large. And my second intention for today is really about connection, because I think that we can self-soothe only so much, and especially for those of us that have been much more isolated. I know for myself that feeling connected to other people, even if it's over a screen, is so deeply nourishing. To be guided in a practice and to be held for a period of time, knowing that I've got you. I've got a plan for this 90 minutes that we have together, and to allow yourself to kind of rest back, feel your back body supported for this practice time, and hopefully that will extend outward beyond this class. So it's not just a physical practice, right? It goes into all levels. Um, so with that said, with my sharing my intentionality, which is around connection and effective responding, I want to invite you to take a moment and check in with your why. What's bringing you to your mat to choose to be here practicing together during this time. Perhaps even imagining what you would like to feel as the practice concludes today. What are you hoping to get out of this? It can be as simple as, I'd like to attend to this, tight spot in my shoulder, and I'd like to attend to that grief in my heart, right? We can intend around our physical, mental, emotional, relational, social selves, all of that spiritual. And as you continue to drop in, I'll invite you to bring your attention to your breath. And to body awareness. Perhaps a brief scan, just noticing, what are you coming into the practice with today? Once again, maybe you notice areas of tension, how you slept last night, what you ate yesterday. And we'll add in Ujjayi Pranayama if that's new to you. It's a slight constriction at the back of the throat. You might explore finding a longer spine, a slight tuck of the chin. And Ujjayi Pranayama is as if you're going to fog up a mirror. It's a sound, but we're inhaling and exhaling out of the nose. what's so lovely about Ujjayi Pranayam is that it can wake up through the inner ear. That sound stimulates proprioception, a quality of sensing your body in space. And the wave-like quality of Ujjaya, that wave-like sound, very calming for the nervous system. And for today, continuing with this focus of waking up through the inner ear, we'll do 3 ohms together as an opportunity to feel and tune into that vibration, knowing that here in countries around the world, we have this opportunity to tune in a similar vibration together. Inhaling to prepare. And for a moment, drawing your hands together at heart center, perhaps bowing your forehead toward your hands, a gesture of bowing the head to the heart. And then from here, releasing the hands, I'm going to slide a little further back onto my mat. And we'll begin to come into some movement practices together. The next movement is on an inhale, we're going to draw the arms up overhead. And on an exhale, sweeping the fingertips down to the earth. And then just simple movements like that, syncing breath and movement together, maybe taking your gaze up to your thumbs, turning your palms, sweeping your hands back down. 2 more like that. Lovely. And then from here, we're going to begin to churn through the belly. So feeling your connection to the pelvis, to the pelvic floor, to that 3-dimensionality of the pelvic bowl. And inhale, we draw the heart forward. Exhale, we're going to scoop the belly in, massaging across the digestive organs. Not too many of these in each direction, so really make them count. Just really feel your way in. You might find little pockets of sensation that are calling for your attention. You might pause, find a little movement there, and then let's go in the other direction. Inhale forward, exhale, draw the navel in, massage across the digestive organs. Beautiful. One more in this direction. And inhale, lengthen your spine here. We're going to draw the arms up overhead. And exhale to the knees. Let your spine come straight back. Go ahead and keep your arms totally straight here. Really feel a traction of your upper back away from the knees. Round the belly in, and then inhale, belly comes through, heart comes through. Again, straight arms, use that to traction your heart forward. Inhale, exhale, moving with the breath. Seated cat-cow. Lovely. We're going to keep the same movement in the spine, but bring hands to shoulders, opening the elbows, lifting the chin. And exhale, tucking the chin, elbows come together in front of the heart. Seated here, robin's breath, opening to the world, drawing back into center. So that as we take in the information of what's happening around us, we have an opportunity to go inside and make sense of it. We move into the world and we retreat into our sensory experience. Perhaps here, letting a sound help you digest whatever is happening inside. Just sigh it out. Ha. Now, for those of you that are familiar with this practice, you've been doing this with me for a while, you can add in lion's breath. If this is new, you're sticking the tongue out. You can cross the eyes. We're drawing navel to the spine. We're drawing diaphragm up. So this can be a little fierce, but let something go. Two more. And inhale, open the arms wide like you're preparing to give the world a giant hug. And exhale, let your hands come together. Go ahead and press firmly for a moment. Maybe a little shake in the arms. Inhale, expand. And exhale, right to midline. Good, two more. Softening, releasing your hands down, lengthening your spine, and once again, sensing. In a moment of stillness, what are you aware of now? From here, we're going to draw the arms up overhead. And on an exhale, we're going to take the right fingertips behind, the left fingertips coming around to the right knee. Inhale, finding greater length of the spine. Exhale, we're going to turn into the twist. Let your chin follow along toward the right shoulder. Let your eyes come along the way toward the back of the room or whatever you're gazing at behind you. Long, deep breathing. For a moment here, release the leverage of your hands. Just let this movement happen from the core of your body. And then replace the hands. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale to deepen. And inhale up to center. Exhaling the other side. Left fingertips behind, right hand over to the outside of your left leg. Finding length, chin can come around, eyes can come around with their gaze. For a moment here, releasing the leverage of the hands, allowing yourself to feel the support from the core. And then releasing the hands down, length of the spine. Exhale, deepen the twist. And inhale to center. Good. Now we're going to come back into the twist, a little bit of a twist on the twist. So exhale, coming back toward the right, left hand on the outside of the right knee. This time we're going to take the right arm up overhead and lean to the left. So breathing into that right side body. Checking in with your gaze if you want to explore what it feels like to look up, forward, or down. Grounding into that right sits bone, even as you lengthen through the right fingertips. Beautiful. Inhale to center. We'll switch it out. Left fingertips behind. Right hand to the outside of the left knee. Inhale. This time it's left arm that comes up and we lean over toward the right side. Checking in with your gaze. Exploring, looking up, sideways, or down. And inhale, lifting up here. Beautiful. From here, we'll take the legs here into butterfly. And for a moment, just use your hands to, I'll move my little mic here so it's not in front of my feet. Move your hands on the soles of your feet. Now again, as I said earlier, make this yours. If sitting in this position, if your legs are up here, you might put blocks underneath your knees, right? So you can put some pillows there, whatever you need to really support yourself, but just greeting the soles of your feet, that part of you that touches the earth, honoring that deep connection that helps us root and ground. And then taking your hands to the insides of your feet, and just for a few breaths here, go ahead and give your butterfly wings a chance to fly. And then, as we did earlier, it's a little bit of seated cat-cow here. So you can hold onto your ankles, draw your heart forward and through, and exhale, release the spine back. Just a different position in the hips, coming forward and through, back. Just one more, not here very long. Good. And then from here, you can close your legs like a book. We're going to take the feet out in front of us. I'm going to turn to the side here, and we'll prepare to do some core strengthening here. So waking up into the abdominal muscles. We're going to start here with boat pose, and you can keep your hands on the floor for boat. You might take your hands to the underneath your knees and finding a length of your spine, rolling your shoulders back and down. You can keep your knees here parallel. Maybe you take your arms off the knees, allow them to be parallel with the floor. Again, notice how your breath rises to meet the shape. That's part of your instinctual responding. Maybe you stay here. Some of you might lengthen out through the arms and legs. Just listening to your body. There is no right or wrong. Checking in, however, whatever shape you take, that your heart stays lifted. And then from here, we'll find a half boat shape. So we're going to go ahead and lower arms and legs, upper body and legs down, and then inhale back to boat. Exhale. Lowering halfway. Inhale to lift. Exhale. Once again, lower it halfway. Inhale to lift. Lift the heart. Stay buoyant in the midst of this rooting downward, and then go ahead and lower all the way down to the earth, all the way down onto your back. Arriving here. Oh, that turned my whole computer. Everything's tethered here. All right, so arriving on your back, and we're going to press the hands into the thighs. So some of you have done this with me before, and if it's new to you, you'll appreciate me tomorrow when you feel this. So go ahead and place your palms against your thighs, and you can make this look really easy. You can also make it feel really challenging. So press your thighs firmly into your hands. Let your hands press firmly into your legs. Let your breath rise to meet the shape. Let there be a little bit of shaking. One more breath here. And then soften your knees in. Allow your arms to compress around your shins. And just a little bit of rocking side to side. I hope I'm not the only one feeling that. I don't get to hear your moans when we're on Zoom. All right, let's do that same action once again. Hands against the thighs. Thighs pressing back to the hands. And release. Let the legs fall in, a little rock side to side. So, next step in this particular set of actions, we're going to take right hand across to the left leg. This time, we're pressing equally leg into hand, hand into leg, and then we're opening the opposite arm. So right leg, left arm lengthens. Exhale to center. Let yourself really feel that active pressing hand to leg, the opening and closing on the other side. I always think of this as like rubbing your belly and patting your head. It's a lot going on for your brain. One more here. Soften it for a moment. And then side two. Left hand presses against the right leg. Firm press. Feel it in the belly. And then opposite arm and leg. Well done. Okay. Rocking a little side to side. We are not completely done with our ab series here. I feel like I got very dark on my screen, but that's okay. We're going to come in with the right leg up and over the left. So eagle legs, a Garudasana in the lower body. Hands are going to come behind the head. So part of what I've been playing with this week in my own practice is this capacity of rooting to rise. So part of how we strengthen that within ourselves is really getting a nice strong core. Inhale here. Exhale, drawing elbows up toward the knees. On the inhale, you can press the feet forward as you lower upper body down. Exhale to lift. Inhale to lower. Exhale, squeeze legs toward each other. So that's an active engagement of inner thighs. One more like that. Lower it down. Unwind the legs, and for a moment, just let yourself rock a little side to side. You know we have side 2 coming. Go ahead and take the left leg over the right this time, and hands behind the head. Inhale. Exhale, squeeze it all to center. Inhale, extend the feet forward. Maybe focusing on exhaling through the mouth. Maybe a sound. You're in your living room. Only the dogs and cats can hear you. One last movement. Good. And then lower it down. This time hands behind the knees and a few rocks up and down the spine. And we're going to rock up and over the legs, coming into a child's pose. For just a moment here, allow your hips to rest back, your arms to press forward. Let your head rest down if it needs to rest on a block, whatever it needs, or your stacked palms. We're not here for long. And then we'll rise up into a tabletop. And for a few breaths here, I invite you to follow your intuition. How does your body want to breathe and move, be breathed in a way that integrates the spinal awakening, the abdominal strengthening that we've done up until this point? Letting your sensations be your guide. Beautiful. And then from here, we're going to do some movements together. And you may want to kind of look at this for a moment, and then it's pretty intuitive. But we're going to go do a little circular flow between cat and cow. And initially we're going to come forward. Allow your elbows to come down. Let your nose come close to the mat. Inhale to lift up into cow pose. Exhale, begin to arch your spine and press all the way back towards child's pose. And then coming forward. Now I have my toes tucked under. You can untuck the toes, listen to your body. And once again, once you have the circular movement, let it be intuitive. Maybe feel that as you come forward, you're drawing awareness from your pelvis, through your belly, across the diaphragm, across the heart. And then descending across the back body, down to the hips. One more like that. Beautiful. Staying with some of our focus on instinct and intuition, we're going to curl the toes under, and I'm going to face you for this part, but you can, well actually I'll stay on the side for the first part. We're going to curl the toes under and we're going to sit back onto the heels. So this is sometimes referred to as toes pose. You might reach around and pull out the little pinky toe so that your toes are nice and spread. But the purpose of this is to open up through the fascia at the bottoms of the feet. So allowing yourself to perhaps sit back, stack the shoulders, and some of you will say, no way, right? Some of you are like, I'm here. I'm just gingerly pressing back. Or maybe I use a block, right? So listen to your body with how your feet feel as we open up through the soles of the feet and of course the ankles as well. And if there is a degree of intensity, which for some of you maybe takes a little while to build and for others it's right there, ripe and ready, but if you're feeling some intensity, my invitation is to explore how does the breath help you effectively respond. We're connecting to our roots. We're exploring how do we rise in the midst of intensity in a mindful, conscientious manner. All right, let's come on out. We're going to lean forward once again, maybe slap your feet out onto the mat, roll your ankles around. You might sense and feel your shins in response to that one. All right, and we're going to curl the toes under again. We're going to walk the hands back to lift the knees off of the floor. Here's where I'm going to turn and face you for a moment. So we're going to maybe start here. You can also step your feet a little wider. So feeling into what supports you. And in this kind of deep squat shape, I'm going to invite you to find some intuitive movement. In my body, that's a lot of sliding back and forth. One heel lowers and the other heel lifts. A knee lowers as the other lifts. And we're greeting the hips, the hip flexors, right? Now, with your feet wide enough, perhaps you explore placing both heels onto the earth. Now, that's maybe available in your body and maybe not. So just exploring how your body responds to this. You can roll up a blanket or a towel, placing it under your heels or your mat, and making this accessible in your body. And then perhaps pressing elbows into knees, allowing yourself to find a long spine. So we know that there are some people around the world who spend a lot of time in this squat position. They eat their meals here, they do their work in this, right? And it's so good for digestion and it's good for back health and joint health. But we do a lot of chair sitting in our Western cultures, and as a result, it really takes a toll on the low back. So this can be reparative even if it's uncomfortable. All right, from here, we're going to take the weight forward a little bit, enough to lift the hips. So I'll show you from the side. I'm in a kind of partial lift position here. We're going to explore a transition to standing. Some of you have done this with me before, and it's a bit intense, but it gives you great appreciation for those little toddlers that are learning to stand for the first time. So we're going to let our arms, our heart, our gaze kind of reach, pressing into the floor, pressing into the legs to lift us all the way to standing. Whew, that's a lot of work. Let's do it again. Let's find it in our bodies again. That instinctual, how do I stay rooted even as I move up to standing? So letting the feet, the pelvis be rooted and grounded, lifting through the arms, the heart, the gaze. 3 times. Come on back down. Collect, gather from the earth. Feel yourself really planting the seeds, tilling the soil, and then from there, feet deep in the mud. Let's go ahead and bring it all the way up to standing. Well done. Go ahead and bring your hands to your heart for a moment. Plant your feet under your hips. Feeling yourself in a new relationship to gravity. From standing, we'll go ahead and draw the arms up overhead. We'll find a standing half moon here. And allowing the right hand, we'll start here, a little bit of support as we come over toward the right side of the room, allowing the left arm, left fingertips to reach long, grounding into the left foot, inhaling center. We'll do this a few times, exhaling to the left. Coming back through to center. Now an option, you can repeat what we just did, or taking the left wrist with the right hand and leaning over toward the right. Pressing into the left foot, stretching open through the left side body, under the left armpit. Inhale, center. Once again, taking left hand around the right wrist, up and over to the left, grounding into the right foot. Lovely. Coming up through center. One more variation. I'll go ahead and show this facing the same direction as you. So right hand up and around. We're going to take the left hand to the right elbow. This time, sorry, I'm switching it up. Let's switch it up. Left hand to the back, right hand to the left elbow. Let's go over to the right first. We've been doing that all together. I'm just looking a different direction. But breathing underneath the left tricep this time. You can press your head into the back of the arm here, or your forearm here, and just breathing as you lift the elbow tip. And then let's come into center. Let's switch it out. So this time I'm bending the right elbow, left hand taking a hold. We're going to go up and over to the left. You can press your head back. Beautiful. Coming up to center. This time, exhale. We'll interlace the hands at the sacrum, making the feet wide enough, maybe mat width apart, drawing the knuckles down, lifting through your heart. And on an exhale, forward fold. Now you can bend the knees as much as needed and begin to draw your clasped hands up overhead as the head bows beneath the heart. From here, by way of the sacrum, releasing hands down to the earth, finding a halfway lift. And exhale, we'll plant the hands and step back to a high plank position. Now, allowing the hips to drop low, allowing the head to reach long. Drawing the navel into the spine, the heels back, tailbone long, maybe a slight tuck in your chin. And on an exhale, we'll bend knees, bend elbows so that the chest lowers, the chin lowers. A pause here in this inchworm shape. Really feeling that connection, tailbone to heart as you sink the hips down. And then a gentle press into the palms, lifting into cobra. Exhale here, and several breaths, your choice how much weight in the hands. You can even lift the hands off of the mat, or use the hands to lift the heart a little further. 3 more breaths, rolling cobras. And then from here, using the hands, pressing back into child's pose once again. Not here long, but an opportunity to receive what you've done thus far, to integrate. If child's pose is uncomfortable in your body, you can always keep the hips lifted above the knees and just allow yourself to come into a puppy dog pose. And in fact, we're all going to go there now. So let's go ahead and do that together. We'll take the hips up above the knees, this time walking the hands forward and allowing the heart to sink through. So it's an opening for the back side of the heart. You might rest your forehead down. Some of you might take your chin to the mat. I personally like to lift onto my finger pads here, cupcaking through the hands and breathing into the armpits. From here, moving back through tabletop. We're going to curl the toes under and we'll take a variation of downward dog by lifting the hips, but keep your knees bent and listen carefully. We're going to bend through the elbows as well. You might take a slightly shorter stance than your typical down dog. This is from Anna Forrest and it's called Turbo Dog. So it's a lot of muscular action as we bend the knees, we bend the elbows, and just for a few breaths here. It's like a crouching tiger, hidden dragon pose right here. There's a lot of power, a lot of potential energy in this shape. Let your breath rise to meet it. And then from here, lengthen through the legs, lengthen through the arms. You might walk the arms out a little bit wider from the feet. And a few breaths in downward facing dog. You might find stillness, you might find some micro movements, just making it yours. Maybe moving through the arms, the legs. You can lift a leg or lift an arm. Maybe you bend your knees or walk it out. And perhaps if you're exploring stillness, finding the micro engagements here, engaging firmly through the muscles of the legs, pressing into the palms, so much so that the heart descends a little bit more toward your thighs. And then from here, walking forward, maybe explore walking with straight legs, not bending the knees, just a different transition. Finding a halfway lift, inhale. And exhale to fold. Inhale to stand. Exhale, swan dive forward. Inhale, halfway lift, taking your gaze to the third eye point, looking past forward where you're going down the road. Exhale, folding in. This time, inhale, plant the hands, stepping back, and we'll go high to low plank, a chaturanga here, as we bend through the knees, firm through the legs. Bend through the elbows, firm through the legs. And then inhale, roll over the toes, lifting the heart, upward facing dog. Exhale, pressing back, downward facing dog. Now, downward dog in yoga is often considered a resting shape. It's a very balanced shape, this triangle action, legs and arms to hips, allows the heart rate to settle. But if it's not resting for you and you need a rest, child's pose is always an option. Otherwise, we'll find another sun A. Inhaling here. Exhaling, gazing forward. Hop or step your feet forward. Inhale, halfway. Exhale to fold. Inhale all the way to standing. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway. And exhale your way to down dog. One option might be to bend through the elbows, hop the feet back, land in low chaturanga, roll over the toes, inhale. Exhale, downward dog. Now you can skip those vinyasas. You can step right back to down dog. You can go to the earth for cobra. We have so many choices available. That's what effective responding is about, is seeing the choices that we have and choosing what's right for you. Not because someone else says they think it's right for you, and not because it's out of reactivity. We'll take this one more time through. Inhale. Exhale, gaze forward, hopping or stepping there. Finding a halfway lift. Folding in. Inhale to stand. Exhale, forward fold. We're taking it right through. Inhale, halfway. Your way to downward dog. On your next exhale, making your way to the front of your mat. Halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Inhale all the way up to standing. And exhale, bending the knees, lowering the hands, and making your way into Utkatasana. So, sometimes Utkatasana is referred to as the lightning bolt pose. Sometimes it's referred to as intense seated pose. The ut in Sanskrit refers to intensity. So meeting your edge of intensity, and what we're exploring is a lowering of the hips and a lifting of the heart so that we can stay open-hearted in the midst of intensity. I'm going to turn to face you. We're going to add on to this one today, going right into Garudasana, eagle pose. We're going to lift the right leg from Utkatasana, and we're going to send it over the left for a single or double wrap. You can always kickstand your foot down. You can use a windowsill or a wall for balance, or maybe you double wrap, the toes wrap around behind. With the right leg over, we're going to take the right arm underneath, wrapping single or double wrap of the arms. You can always hug opposite shoulder. Here, we have a profound brain integration practice. We are setting up an obstacle to our sights, right? Our forearms, our hands, block our vision. So how do we root down in order to maintain clarity? What other senses must you rely upon here to sustain balance? Maybe your inner ear, the sound of your breath. On your next inhale, we're going to open it all up wide. I invite you to step wide here and then lift through the arms, lift up onto the toes. And for a moment, just feel the expansion that's available after the periods of contraction. Lowering the heels, coming back to center. Perhaps palm to palm or palm over your heart. A moment of sensing and feeling your heartbeat. Your own intention, what brought you here today. An opportunity to digest the movement with a pause in stillness. Perhaps some of you are thinking, well, we have another side to go. Okay, let's go there. Okay, we're going to start with Utkatasana again. Bending the knees, feeling the feet on the floor, lifting the heart, lifting through the arms. Finding that depth, that greeting of your connection to your roots. Even sometimes though those roots leave us feeling a little bit shaky. Maybe what has the legacy been handed to you? What's the responsibilities that have been handed to us? And it's intense. It's not easy to relate to the ground sometimes. Yet we're going to find our way to take flight, finding eagle on side 2, lifting up part way, taking left leg with you, coming up and over, single or double wrap. Once you have stability in the legs, it's the left arm underneath. And then finding your way to balance. Now, falling out, no big deal. The floor is not that far away. Asking for support by holding onto a wall or a windowsill, wise. We all need to reach out for support sometimes. Alrighty, from here, stepping out wide, wider than the mat possibly, reaching the arms wide, and then lifting up onto the balls of the feet. Reaching through your fingertips. Let your heart reach out through your arms, through your palms, through your face. And exhale. Stepping back to center. Palm to palm or palm over palm. Feeling into your own aliveness. Glorious. From here, Utkatasana once again, just a short transition, maybe fingertips to the earth. Inhale, and then lengthen through the legs, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, lengthen here, and exhale to plant your hands your way to downward dog. From downward dog, inhale to lift through your right leg. And exhale, forward and through. So once you get your foot forward, I'll invite you to heel toe that right foot out to the right a little bit. So both your hands are on the inside. And then we're going to bend into the arms a little bit, reach forward through the heart, and feel this out for you, right? This is lizard pose. It's got really great benefits, once again, for the hips and the low back. You might feel this in your left hip flexor. Exploring that long line from your left heel to the crown of your head. And then from here, lowering down through your left knee. And we're going to take, I'll face you for a moment here, we're going to take the right hand onto the right knee, and we're going to just begin to open up a little bit. So you might feel that in the front of the left hip flexor, maybe across the right chest. Some of you might stay here. Some of you might explore how it feels to take this into a runner's lunge as you lift through the left leg and reach around to take hold of the left ankle with the right hand. Now, even if you don't reach, if you intend, if you bend, reach, stretch, you might be surprised. You can also use a strap here. And exploring kicking with the foot, holding on resistance with the hand, and then release the kick. Let the heel come a little closer to your buttocks. Lovely. Releasing the foot if you have a hold, and then from here, lifting left knee back off the mat. Now, grounding into the left foot. We're going to come toward Warrior One, and those postures are good preparation for this next shape. As we lift up to Warrior One, we're going to pause with the hands on the hips here. And Warrior One, we're intending the hips toward the front of the mat. But I'll invite you to take a few breaths here, just opening and closing through the hips, grounding into that outer edge of your left foot. As you close the hips, you'll notice the right hip draws back, but none of this is forced, right? This is really about following what feels good, and you'll find a natural stopping point. When you find the stopping point, hands to ribs, and then allow your ribs to complete the action of taking your heart to the front of your mat. Maybe you deepen into the right knee. Maybe from here, you draw arms up overhead. Maybe your gaze lifts. That's up to you. Inhaling here. Exhale, we'll frame the front foot, step the right foot back to meet the left, and your way to downward dog. Maybe you find a vinyasa, maybe you skip that. No right, no wrong. Once you've arrived at down dog, sensing, feeling, moving, and we'll find side two. Inhale, reaching through your left leg. Exhale, gazing forward, stepping forward and through, and then toe heeling your left foot to the left, and finding your hands to be inside of the left leg. Now you might stay here, lifted up on straight arms, or you might begin to bend through your elbows, lowering your torso. Some of you might even come to your elbows, listening to what's right for your body, feeling a long line of reach between the right heel and the crown of your head. And then lifting up here, and this time we're going to take the right hand to the inside of the left leg and just begin to, you can lower the right knee down, you can begin to open up through that right knee, maybe roll to the outer edge of the right foot, listening to your knee, nothing that feels crunchy or painful, please. And then allowing yourself to breathe into the opening in the right side body, maybe the left shoulder. Some of you might bend through the right knee. Maybe you reach around, take hold of the ankle, and then you can kick into the hand. Maybe that kick opens up through your chest. And then maybe you release the kicking and you draw the heel a little closer to your hips. And then from here, let it go. We're going to re-lift through the right knee. You can toe heel the left foot in a little bit and ground into the right heel. Now from here, we're going to find our way to Warrior One. So we're taking this slowly, allowing yourself to move here so you can see me a little better. We're going to open and close the hips. So you can check in with your feet. The front toes are facing forward. The back toes are angling toward the front right corner of your mat. And then you're grounding down through the outer edge of the right foot. This is ever too much, popping that back foot up into crescent pose, a nice variation. As you play with opening and closing the hips, finding that place where the hips say, that's enough, that's the place that I want to stop. Then hands to your rib cage and turning the rib cage forward to turn the heart forward. From here, maybe the arms lift. Perhaps the gaze lifts. Finding your breath. Inhaling and exhaling to the earth, your way, downward dog. Once you arrive in downward dog, releasing knees to the mat in either child's pose or puppy dog, whatever serves you here. A brief rest, integration, maybe a sip of something to drink. Slowly pressing back up into all fours. We'll have one more sequence that we'll take right from downward dog, curling the toes under, lifting up through the hips, letting the head be heavy. And then from here, inhale to lift through the right leg. Exhale, gaze forward, stepping forward and through. Grounding into the left heel, this time preparing for Warrior Two. You can take the left arm up and around, windmilling there, and finding your way in. This time hips are open, chest is open. We can open the arms, but maybe take the gaze over the right fingertips. Legs are active. What I love about our Warrior series is that they are a profound reminder that action is sometimes very important. Protector energy, a valuable asset in this world. And yet we can combine that energy with mindfulness, effective responding, allowing us to stay connected to self and other. feeling rooted in the feet, in the hips as we rise up. Reverse warrior. A breath here just to breathe into the right side body. And on an exhale, forearm to the thigh. You can keep the left arm rooted here or maybe up overhead, extended side angle. These angular shapes have a certain supportive geometry to them. Very grounding in this structure. And then from here, inhale, we'll reach away once again, lengthening through the right leg this time. Strong right leg, reaching away. And on an exhale, long reach, reach, reach with the right fingertips, and then rotate the hand down for Trikonasana. So arms are long. Look at all the triangles we have in our bodies here. Triangles between the legs and the earth, between the arms, torso, and the right leg. Maybe taking your gaze up, but if your neck says nope, gazing forward or down. You can use a block under your right fingertips, the earth, support them on your shin. Softening your gaze, softening into the front knee. Inhale for a moment through warrior two. And exhale, windmill to the earth, right foot back to meet the left, your way to down dog. We'll find our way into side two. Inhale, lifting through the left leg. Exhaling all the way forward and through, grounding into the right heel. This time, right arm sweeping up and around. Warrior two. Finding your shape, your depth, lengthening the arms, the gaze. Inhale, reaching away. Maybe gazing up at the left fingertips, feeling the length across the left side body. And exhale, extended side angle, forearm can come to the thigh. Right arm maybe lifts up overhead, long line between the right fingertips and the outer edge of the right foot. Luxuriate in that space. From here, inhale, lifting up, reaching away, lengthening through the left leg. Nice and strong. And exhale, long, reach, reach, reach through the left fingertips, rotating the arms, hand to shin, a block, the earth. Finding those triangles in the body, the most stable shape in geometry. Right here in your body. Stability, ground. Softening your gaze, softening your left knee. Inhale through warrior two. And exhale, your way to downward dog. From downward facing dog, lowering the knees. For a moment, Pressing back, child's pose. Heels, hips, head heavy. And then slowly coming up to sitting onto your heels. So from here, we'll explore this concept of rooting into the pelvis as we open the heart in Ustrasana, camel pose. Now, camel pose is a pretty big heart opener. It's one of my most favorite postures in all of yoga, and we can get great benefits from all of its variations. So I'm going to show a few options. I know some of you in the class are very familiar with this shape. You can go ahead and come right in. One place that's nice to use a block here is between the thighs, because what we want to do with or without the block is really engage that inner thigh line, because if the inner thighs are going to connect to the pelvic bowl stability, and what we're looking for is this sense of rooting, tailbone long. We can place the hands here in the back pockets and allow the heart to lift as we allow that tailbone to descend. Legs are strong. This is a beautiful place to stay as we bend the elbows, lifting from the heart, from the chin, connecting to breath. Some of you might want to curl the toes under and begin to reach the hands back to grasp the heels. In doing so, then we re-root into the pelvis, send the tailbone long, and let the heart lift. Exploring a lift through the chin rather than a collapsing through the back of the neck. One more breath. And slowly walking yourself up, untucking the toes if they're tucked, perhaps sitting on the heels if your knees accommodate that. But instead of rolling forward, allow yourself to find a seat with a long spine. Maybe you come cross-legged, but allow yourself to sense and feel what you've opened up by connecting to your roots. What rises? Now the energy that's free and available in your heart, I want you to come back to your intention. Allow that energy to become fuel for that why. What brought you to the mat today? And then from here, we'll release out of meditation, just taking the hips to the side and the legs forward from wherever you've just been sitting. We'll come all the way down onto the back. Now, if you have a block, you might want to have that nearby for where we're going, a block or two. And allow yourself to come all the way down onto the back. For a moment, before we go anywhere, just let your soles rest on the mat, knees to the air, shoulders heavy, back of the head heavy. And then from here, an option to come into bridge pose. So a note of caution with bridge pose, the one thing you want to be mindful of is not to turn your head to the side once your hips are lifted. We want to keep the cervical spine nice and long and straight. So if you're unfamiliar with bridge and want to look at the screen, do that before coming in. Otherwise, you can listen to your body. You're good to go. Let your nose stay lifted. Let the back of the head rest on the mat, lifting your hips. A beautiful place to stay right here, or a place to use that block for supported bridge, placing it underneath the hips. For those of you that are going in the unsupported fashion, it doesn't mean we don't have that support from the earth. Letting the hips lift, you might clasp your hands underneath the hips and roll one shoulder and the other underneath to create a lift for your heart. Once again, just like camel, engage that inner thigh line. Let the inner thighs be active. Let the tailbone be long, reaching toward the knees. Let the back of the head be heavy. Maybe the chin lifts away from the heart a little. Heart chases the chin, pressing into the heels, lifting the hips a little bit more. Inhale here. And exhale, unclasping the hands, slowly untucking the shoulders, and vertebrae by vertebrae rolling down to the mat. Once you've arrived there, walking your feet out to the edges and knock your knees in toward each other. Broken bridge. Just let your knees be supported by one another. And then from here, a lovely little twist action. Wide feet, feet at the edges of the mat. And I'll invite you to take both knees to the right. So we're descending, both knees down. Again, you might breathe across the front of that left hip flexor. You can press into the inner edge of your left foot, even lifting that left hip off the mat a little bit, and then descending it back down, finding your micro movements in this shape. Oh, that feels good. And then lifting the knees. We'll find that on the other side. Now, you might lift your hips, take them to the right a little bit as you take the knees to the left, and then finding some micro movements here. Maybe you press into the inner edge of the right foot, breathing across the front of the right hip flexor. And then back through to center. Here, an invitation to draw your knees to your chest. Take your hands to your ankles and a little happy baby. No cares in the world right now. You are safely held in your home, in your yoga mat, your safe space. You might even take the hands to the soles of the feet again, just feeling like you're exploring your own toes, your own feet, closing the circuit of your body. You rock a little side to side. And then from here, releasing heels to your hips, wrapping arms around your shins, maybe tucking your nose into your knees, hug everything into a tight ball, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And on an exhale, letting it all go, your way into Shavasana, final resting pose. You can take your heels out to the edges of your mat. Allow your feet to rock a little side to side for a moment if you like. Maybe you roll the shoulders under, a little lift of the heart. Maybe you lift the head for a moment and lower it back down. Arms away from the body, sending the palms upward in a gesture of receptivity. When we arrive at this point, I offer up the mantra, I have done enough, I have enough, I am enough. And simply settling in to that receptive mode. being nourished as you receive the benefits of your practice into every cell of your being. Slowly, slowly beginning to reawaken. I know for some of you it's Saturday morning, and for some of you it's Saturday night. So allowing yourself to explore what you need next. Some of you might stay in Shavasana longer, or if you're ready to find some movements, maybe wake up for the second time today, if it's your morning, allowing yourself to find a gentle morning stretch, reaching one arm and the other, maybe bending your knees, maybe rotating hands around the wrists, feet around the ankles, and either rocking to one side or rock and rolling on your spine. We'll make our way back up to sitting. I'll come join you a little closer. It's nice to be able to pop in and see your faces again. I'll invite us, once you've found your way back up to sitting, to take one more moment, tuning into any intention you set for your practice today. Allowing yourself to reflect on your relationship to that intention now. Sometimes our intentions change over the course of a practice, and that's just fine. Just noticing, who are you now? What's emerged? And then from here, perhaps joining me in another Om to close out our practice, perhaps palm to palm. Inhale, finding that long spine. Absolute pleasure to practice with each of you, dedicating the benefits of this practice to all beings. Namaste.